So you got your foundation walls in. Now let's take a look at how to put in the footings. I want to show you a detailed drawing of this so you can kind of get an idea of what architectural detail drawings look like. So you're going to see that in here. It's the foundation and footing detail drawing. And if I click that, it opens this up. So this is an architectural drawing that shows some detail segments about what is included in each of these items, what's included in the wall, and it shows information about that, what's included in the flooring. This little S is just showing that it's a cutoff, that it would continue, the wall continues up, the floor continues out. It talks to you about the rebar that's inside. So if you're actually building this, it gives you a little bit more information about the actual walls themselves. So we have our foundation walls in place. That's this wall right here. You can see the ground is right here. So the ground is kind of sloping down, gentle slope down and away. The dirt is piled up next to these foundation walls. But underneath that, before we do anything in construction for our home, we have to have these footing walls. So we're actually going to put these in now. When you're actually building, that's the first thing you do, is you put in the footings and then the foundation walls, and then you build up from there. But as we're designing, we're kind of designing it more from top down. Well, we need to know, what is the size of the footing? So I look at my dimensions over here, and it shows it's 8 by 16. So 8 by 16, I can see it's clearly wider than it is tall. So the 8 inches must be the height of this wall, and the 16 inches must be the width of this. So I have to create an 8-inch tall by 16 inches wide concrete footing. So let's go back into our Revit drawing, and we're going to go into architecture and wall. And a footing is actually one of the first options that we have. So if I click on that one, I need to edit this because it's not supposed to be a 12-inch thick footing. It was supposed to be a 16-inch thick footing. And we're actually designing based off the thickness. That's what this number means. So if I duplicate this and I call this a 16-inch footing and click OK, then I can edit it, and I can edit this thickness. And I'm just going to delete the whole thing and just type in 16 inches. And it's smart enough to do the math for me on that. So that is my 16-inch footing. I click OK. And now I have the width of 16 inches. And I click OK again. And now I have a 16-inch wide footing. So now I need to make sure that the height of my footing is correct, that it's 8 inches tall. So if I go into an elevation view, I'm going to choose the north elevation. I can look at my foundation wall, and I can look at my footing wall. And these need to be 8 inches apart. So my foundation wall is -4, 10 3/4. If I take 8 inches off of that, then I'm going to end up with a value of -5, 6 3/4. That is taking 8 inches, subtracting 8 more inches from this. So if yours does not read -5, 6 3/4, you should adjust that. I'm pretty sure it doesn't when you first start. So go ahead and click on that value, change it to -5, 6 3/4. And now there's 8 inches between the foundation and the bottom of the footing, BO footing. So when we draw it in there, that footing is going to appear down here. Well, now we need to draw it in. So you're going to go into your foundation floor plan. And if your foundation floor plan looks something like this, this is actually just looking at all of my different flooring options, then we need to actually be able to see the walls on this. So I'm going to change my visual style to wireframe, and that allows me to actually see these foundation walls in here. Don't believe the other options allow you to see it. I always leave mine on fine detail, but in this particular case, fine detail is not going to make any difference. So I'm going to leave it on wireframe. Yours might be set there. It might be set to something different, but wireframe is what allows me to see my foundation walls. And I'm going to go over to my wall again. And now I have my footing wall. Well, this time I want to make sure that the core center line is lined up with the middle of this foundation wall. So I'm going to click the rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw the wall from the center of my foundation walls. And what you'll see happening is that those walls, the footings, are centered on the foundation wall. I'm going to go and center it down in this corner, and then I click, and now I have my footing walls. Now, at this point, we got to double check and make sure that our constraints are set the way we want. When I was in my foundation, it should have set the base constraint to bottom of footing. It did, so that's good. The top constraint should have been the foundation. I don't want it to go any higher than that. So double check that. And it tells me the height of this wall. It says that it is 8 inches tall. So if yours shows up as 8 inches tall with those constraints, then I think we're in good shape. So now we can go back to our north elevation, and you can see I have my footing wall right here. The last thing you want to do, just to double check and make sure it looks like you want, is if you go into your floor plan view, we can create a section view. And I go into view and click on section. You did this back when you were doing your shed as well. So I'm going to click inside the building, click outside the building, and now it's going to give me this as my section. So let's go now and let's look at that section view. If I scroll down, it should have created a new section right here. And by taking a look at that, I can see now my foundation wall and I can see my footing. So I'm going to go into fine detail and show you one other thing you're going to look for on this. Hidden line is fine, but in the view menu, thin lines will allow you to see more of those details. So I'm going to choose thin lines. And we can see in my situation, I have the insulation here. If you don't have that, that's not going to be that big of a problem for what we're doing. That's totally fine. Depends on whatever I told you in the foundation wall video. We're going to go with that. But you can see the footing is situated underneath the foundation wall, and the foundation wall is situated underneath the flooring. And then we have our siding right here on this wall. So that allows us to see everything. If you're not able to see everything, it might be because your crop window is actually too high and it doesn't allow you to see things. So you can adjust your crop window by going down into here and turning on your crop region. So these little crop indicators, the light bulb and the entire crop region just shows everything. That will allow you to see and crop your image to show exactly what it is you need to show. So that is what you need to do to get your footing walls in.